Joining me now, three of the best political analysts, all CNN contributors, Republican strategist Ed Rollins, syndicated columnist Miguel Perez, Pulitzer Prize-winning New York Daily News columnist Michael Goodwin. Gentlemen, thanks for being here. Ed, that was quite a performance there. It appears that Barack Obama will never again let Joe Biden take the lead in any one of these ceremonies.
Well, hopefully never let him speak again, but it's going to be the last man speaking in the room, according to him today. This is a very critical appointment. Obviously, a third of the Congress or the Senate didn't support him, and I think to a certain extent he doesn't get to walk away from the responsibility he had as chairman of the New York Fed. He was very involved in some of this early spending, but my big worry here is they still don't have a plan to sell to the American public because it's not clear yet. They keep talking about 4 million new jobs. No one has shown me where there's a job. It's a real distribution of taking federal money, a lot of it putting back into state money.
Well, I know you're a bipartisan kind of guy.
I am.
We had a Republican president and a Republican Treasury Secretary who pulled the very same stunt
and that's why
back in September.
And that's why they're not there. That's why Republicans got voted out. And at the end of the day, that was totally irresponsible. And I would argue that this man has had more time, and it's more critical at this point in time because the expectations are higher. And if we fail on this one, I'm not sure the public will basically want more.
What do you think, Mike?
Well, and I was struck by something else Geithner said there, the notion of returning trust to government.
Right.
And it's very hard for Geithner
and the
himself.
president, by the way, again, making it a very important part of his life.
And for Geithner, of course, with his tax problems, and also, as Ed said, he was chairman of the New York Fed, very much involved in everything that's happened so far, as well as sort of overseeing the banks in New York. So returning trust in government is going to be very hard for Geithner. So that's why...
I should point out one thing real quickly about the presidency of the New York Fed. It is not the same as being the president in any one of the other 11 districts. The New York Fed is the center of operations for our central bank, for the Federal Reserve. Right. Geithner was at the very epicenter, involved in the most in the most intricate aspects of policy, making critical decisions. Right. So he also, as Ed said at the outset, carries great responsibility.
Right, and so I think for Geithner himself to sort of lead the charge in restoring confidence in the financial system, he's got to earn that because he doesn't start with that. I mean, 34 votes against him in the Senate is quite a bit of opposition for a job like this and an emergency like this.
At this point, Miguel, we have a lot of people talking about a economic package, stimulus package, that's a third tax cuts, a third infrastructure, and a third all sorts of wealth redistribution. Do you really think this is going to go through?
The new White House press secretary couldn't even explain it today. I was watching him this afternoon in his press conference, and he kept saying, well, you know, look, the basis of the problem, Lou, has been all along, at least, I'm not an economist, but all the economists are telling us that this started with the housing market. With the housing market. And with the foreclosure situation that a lot of Americans are facing, and none of this TARP or whatever other bailout is dealing with this situation. He could not explain today what part of, how much of that $350 billion TARP money is really going to the housing problem.
Almost 16 months ago, I was calling for a trickle-up approach to the housing crisis. Imagine that, and we still have not seen a response by this government, the new government of Barack Obama, nor certainly the old one, which will go nameless here. We're going to be right back with our panel. But first, coming up at the top of the hour, Campbell Brown, no bias, no bull. Campbell, what are you working on?
Hey there, Lou. Coming up in just a few minutes, on a day where companies have announced more than 70,000 layoffs, we're looking into why a company that we taxpayers have bailed out to the tune of $45 billion is buying a brand new multi-million-dollar luxury jet for its top executives. Also tonight, Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich is everywhere today, everywhere except his impeachment trial. And no bias, no bull, look at that. Plus, we'll also talk about the first case we know of where a coach is facing reckless homicide charges after one of his players died of a heat stroke. We'll talk about that as well, Lou.
Thank you, Campbell. And a reminder to join me on the radio Monday through Fridays for the Lou Dobbs Show. Go to LouDobbsRadio.com to get the local listings for the Lou Dobbs Show in your area. Join me in New York, WOR, 2 to 4 p.m., Monday through Friday. We'll be back with our political panel in one moment. Stay with us.
How can the oil industry in the North Sea impact fishing markets in Japan, marine legislation in the U.S., and food consumption in Italy? At At T. Rowe Price, we understand the connections of a complex global economy. It's just one reason to consider our disciplined investment approach. T. Rowe Price. Invest with confidence. Request a prospectus or profile with investment objectives, risks, fees, expenses, and more information to read and consider carefully before investing.
If you're driving a car that's under 15 years old with less than 200,000 miles, stay tuned to learn how you can save thousands of dollars on car repairs with an extended warranty from U.S. Fidelis. This is not the same warranty car dealers offer. It's better, costs less, and it's customized just for you. You pick your own coverage amount, deductible, and payment plan. You even pick the repair shop, and we pick up the bill, and we'll pay the shop directly, so you don't have to pay up front, then wait to be reimbursed. How much can you save? Plenty. It cost almost $1,300 to repair an air conditioner condenser, but the owner didn't pay a cent. U.S. Fidelis covered it 100%. It cost over $3,700 to replace a transmission, and U.S. Fidelis paid it all. The choice is yours. You can pay your repair bills yourself, or you can let us pay them for you. To find out more, call 1-800-691-1829 for a free 5-minute quote. That's 1-800-691-1829. 1-800-691-1829. Call now.
We're not CEOs making millions.
We do not have golden parachutes or option plans.
What we have is our hands,
our hearts, and our work ethic. We are America's workforce.
The men and women
who keep our economy going.
All we ask for
Is a level playing field.
The Employee Free Choice Act will let workers choose to form a union to get better pay, health benefits, and job security. The Employee Free Choice Act. It's time the economy worked for everyone again.
We're back with Ed Rollins, Miguel Perez, and Michael Goodwin. Ed, we are looking at an unending stream of money here. Promise upon promise. The states are going to get money. The cities are going to get money. I don't know.
Well, I don't see where we create the jobs. I mean, I think the bottom line is what we are is we're taking federal money and giving it to states that haven't been responsible, that are going to end up, as Michael will say, raise taxes to begin with. And all of a sudden, they're going to have these expectations that the federal government will always be there to bail them out. And they're not living within their means. They're not being responsible. And the states that were responsible are basically going to pay a penalty because they won't get any federal bailout. So I think it's a very bad formula. If we're going to spend our money, which I'm happy to do it, if we're going to get the economy moving forward, we got to do something to create jobs. Small businesses are not even included in this package, and I think
the housing industry,
or the housing industry, and the banks still
or the
aren't
homeowners.
Right.
But don't worry about those people. They're just the ones who pay taxes. They're the ones who are the middle class, the foundation of the country, the backbone of the country. We're watching a massive wealth redistribution program, don't you think?
Yeah, look, the president is talking about transparency and oversight. That has to happen now, before Wednesday, before day after tomorrow, before they vote on this thing. This is the problem. The problem is they're rushing into this whole thing, and it just doesn't make any sense. We're throwing money out the window like it was confetti at a ticker tape parade in New York City. It's absurd.
Well,
we can't afford a ticker tape.
No, not with money.
And the stimulative effect of this is going to be cut in half by the cities and the states raising taxes. So the feds send money to New York, for example. Both the mayor of New York, Michael Bloomberg, and the governor, David Paterson, are raising taxes. Yeah. Ergo, there goes the stimulation back into the government.
Yeah, it is. This is truly a Ponzi scheme of massive proportions this time. I mean, it truly is. This is real redistribution. And we've got one other thing, listening to Nancy Pelosi saying yesterday that now contraception is an economic policy.
Right.
If these are the kind of comments that are going to inspire the confidence that Timothy Geithner was speaking of, I mean, I don't know where we're headed.
Well, we're heading for bigger debt, and a much longer recession than we'd hoped for.
I don't think Americans are that dumb.
Well, I've always said not one of us is as smart as all of us, but we keep trotting out these ones in Washington, D.C. that will make me feel very confident about my statement.
You're talking about restoring confidence, and they're not going about it the right way.
Miguel, thank you very much, Michael.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tonight's poll results.